It is so good to see you all this evening. Thank you so much for joining me to send love to LA tonight. We are here to support the survivors of the wildfires in LA. Greetings, Jatin. How are you tonight? Thank you so much. As you all come into the room, please do not forget to give me a greeting and let me know who's here. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if that option is available to you at this time. Thank you all so much for being here. We're going to jump right into it. This is such an important topic tonight. Such an important topic. It is my intention tonight to discuss the situation that is happening currently in LA with the wildfires right now. So many people's lives have been devastated. There has even been lives lost at this point. And our hearts really go out. Our hearts are breaking for the families that have lost their homes and lost everything that they know at this time. So we are here to lend energetic support. We're going to do a live visualization tonight. Okay, we're going to do a visualization sending them love and compassion, peace, restoration, courage, a strong sense of self, and whatever else spirit has determined that they now need and will need for years to come to recover from this tragedy. Okay, so we're going to get into that tonight. But before we do, I want to also go into some of the symbolism of this event. Okay, we're going to go into the symbolism of this event. As you all know, for those who have been following me, if you're new to the channel, you may not know, but I love to, it is part of my calling to explore the relationship between the external mirrors that appear in our reality and our internal reality, right? Our external reality is always mirroring our internal reality. Okay, it's probably the best way to state that. Okay, so we're going to go into the symbolism of the event large scale and bring that down to our level personally and examine how is this reflecting things that we are dealing with on a personal level, as well as some things we're going to be dealing with as a collective here soon in days to come. Okay, I see people coming to the room. Please give me a greeting so I'll see your name pop up. I may not be able to call out everybody's name because we need to get going here, but we're definitely going to go into the symbolism and then do a visualization. Let me go ahead and introduce myself before we get into that. My name is Pangea Northstar. I am an energetic healer. I am an attraction coach. I love to teach. I love to do visualizations and have some online classes that I offer from time to time. Soon we'll have those evergreen for you. I also help to coach people to attract love into their lives for the purpose of healing, for abundance, for self-acceptance and forgiveness so that you can live your best life, okay? And lastly, I also love to help entrepreneurs identify energetic blockages that are preventing them from moving their businesses forward to the next level, okay? So looking at the wildfires in LA, you all, please give a greeting as you come into the room so I'll know who's here with me. And I appreciate you guys' support. Let's look at the wildfires in LA tonight. And we want to, my intention is to discuss this in the best manner possible, with showing the utmost empathy and compassion for those who have suffered such great loss Okay, such great loss. So as we're discussing this tonight, you all, please keep in mind, and I definitely welcome your comments. I want to see your comments in the chat. Please let me know how this is feeling for you to be witnessing this. Good evening, Elmira. Good to see you here. Good evening, Miss Fortitude. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining. We want to, I want to know, how does this feel to you all to be witnessing this? There is a such thing as secondhand trauma, right? Vicarious trauma. So we're going to also be receiving some healing tonight as we send healing energy to LA tonight, right? So I welcome your comments, and we want to just keep in mind that as we examine the symbolism, that we are talking about real people and their real lives, and we're going to look at how this is affecting us as real people in our real lives as well. There is some very deep symbolism happening here with this tragedy. Mara says it's traumatic, it's sad, it's devastating, and thankful. Makes you feel thankful all in one. I get that. Yes, absolutely. Greetings, Zena. Miss Fortitude says so many emotions. Yes, all at once. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This is very difficult to watch. As you see the footage, I saw an interview of a man that was talking about, watching his home and, everything he owned burn. His children had lost their school, the businesses, entire neighborhoods are just gone. People have lost pets. People have lost even family members. There has been human life loss at this point, right? And not to mention Mother Earth, the damage to the environment. That is real. Mother Earth, the earth is alive, right? And she is being damaged as well. So we can't overlook that. Elmira says it looks like a war zone. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So we are going to do a visualization after we do the discussion. So those who are watching the replay later, I just want you to know it is still going to be very effective for you to participate with the visualization later. Just because you're not here with us in real time, it does not mean that it's not useful or helpful for you to add your energy to this virtual container. Think of it like a cloud storage of love and compassion for the survivors of the LA wildfires. That is what we are building tonight. Think of this like a cloud storage. And the purpose is that we're creating this container of love and compassion, peace and healing. And when those survivors say their prayers, when they do their meditations, as soon as they reach out for source, as soon as they reach out for love and compassion into the universe, this will be there to greet them. Okay, so that is what we are building tonight. That is our intention. Okay, so as we send love to LA for this tragedy of epic proportions. Like I said earlier, we're gonna really quickly look at what is this mirroring to us externally. Okay, we're talking about total loss. Okay, total loss. This is a forced transition, okay? Forced change in which there is nothing left, okay? Even the ground itself that houses in businesses, in schools, communities, neighborhoods, counties, forests once stood on, the ground itself is scorched. Okay, think about the magnitude of that. Okay, scorched earth can't even be used to grow food. Okay, we are talking about total devastation and forced change, a forced transition. Okay, so this is all about transitions, guys. And I want us to begin to think about times in our life where we have been forced into transition. Okay, if you've ever felt forced into change, give me some hearts in the chat if that that idea resonates for you, if you've ever felt that you are forced to make any kind of change. Okay. Now, when we're talking about transitions, I like to think of transitions in terms of elements of nature. Okay. Nature is always changing, always cycling into a new season. It is something you cannot stop. It is something we cannot control. Okay, so nature is always going through these seasons, and our lives are always going through different seasons. Nothing is ever really standing still, right? So, we're talking about transitions, which I like to think about in terms of elements of nature. And fire is definitely an element of nature. Okay, so a fire transition is a transition that represents total devastation, total change, where there is nothing left. Everything in your life is new. And whether it is a literal fire, as in the case of the LA wildfires, or something that happens in your life personally, there are times when we go through a sweeping change in our life where absolutely everything is different. Okay, you look up one day and where you live is different, where you work is different, the way you talk is different, the way you behave and react to things is different due to some change that happened for you. And I'm saying for you on purpose, right? Because it's all about perspective. The change is happening for you, something that forced you to grow, forced you to change. Give me some hearts in the chat if you've ever experienced something in your life that forced everything to change. Yes, yes. I see someone saying this happened when I got fired from a job. Yes, absolutely. That is a great example. This could be a divorce. This could be a death of a loved one. This could be a serious illness in your body. This could be the loss of a home, right? This, any type of sweeping change. Someone else give me an example. If you have an example, this could be the loss of a pet or anything that really changes who you are and everything in your life, right? I knew someone who, their home got broken into. Okay, imagine if your home got broken into and some act of violence was done against you, and you had to leave there because you didn't feel safe anymore. You couldn't bear to be there anymore. There are so many different circumstances that can happen where your whole life changes and there's nothing left. Scorched earth. Okay, you can't even grow anything useful from what was before. Okay, so another element of nature here involved in this whole unfortunate disaster is the wind. As you watch the stories, you're they're talking about the wind. Yes, we have another excellent example, being hospitalized for a mental health issue. Absolutely. That is a total change in your life, right? You become a different person after something like that, right? So, wind is another factor. The wind in in LA has been blowing the fires into different directions and causing it to spread, helping it to spread, right? That's another element of nature here. It is also representative of something, okay? I think of winds of change is what I hear about that. And there are winds of change that happen in our life, right? I think of the winds of change as sometimes when you're in a situation, think about this, you guys. You're in a situation, some circumstance of life that has become very comfortable for you, right? Very routine, very automatic for you. And you feel very secure where you are, but you know that something needs to change, right? Maybe it's a job that you hate or a relationship that's really, you know, it's not good for you, but there's a certain type of security there, right? So things begin to happen. First, there's a little whisper. It's like, oh, you know, you need to change that, right? And over time, the voices and the forces in your life get louder and louder until you are finally forced to make a change that you know you need to make to get out of your comfort zone, right? So think of the people being forced to leave their home. Your home is your place of security, your place of comfort, right? Times, circumstances, and scenarios come about in our life where we are forced to leave places of comfort, right? I call these types of winds of change, I call this divine discomfort. Divine this discomfort. This is something that the universe is using to force you to leave, to force you to get out of there, to get out of that situation and leave the place that has become comfortable. Okay? So think of the winds as divine discomfort. Has anyone ever experienced something like this in your life where you were in a situation and you're like, I know I need to change, but I'm going to wait. I know I need to move on, but I'm going to wait. This is kind of comfortable for my daily life, you know, but things kept becoming more and more and more uncomfortable until you had absolutely no choice but to leave. Yes, I see confirmation in the chat. I call that divine discomfort. Okay, those are the winds of change that come in your life and just force you to move on, to flee your sense of safety and security. I see Elmira saying smoke. Smoke. Tell me more about that. Is that an element? What does that element represent to you? Right? Smoke, you can't even breathe. Right? And breathing is paramount to life. It's critical. You must breathe, right? Zena says, holy smoke. Yes, absolutely, right? Also, yes, cleansing. Smoke is cleansing. Smoke is used as a cleansing of your auric field in many spiritual ceremonies, as well as fire itself also represents purification, which I think we mentioned earlier, right? Purification. Fire also represents purification, okay? Cleansing, an absolute restart, okay? And as you all know, only this is one of the things that was making the fire spread faster, which is the brush, right? The brush lying around, old branches, dead leaves, and things in the forest that are, normally collected, but for some reason they had not been collected. So that is helping the fire to spread because that's dead wood. Yes, that's dead and it's dry. Exactly. Right? So that burns very quickly. Right? So sometimes we have things in our life, just little things that we really need to clean up. Right? Little things we really need to take care of. Right? And when a spark happens in our life, one little thing catches on fire, and because you haven't taken care of all these itty bitty things that need to be taken care of, maybe it's some things that, it's due to feeling overwhelmed, maybe not being as organized as you could be. You have a lot of loose ends, right? So then one major thing happens and whoosh, everything catches on fire. It's like, oh, I need this document, but I can't find that document. I need this, I need that, yada, yada, yada. When you have a lot of little loose ends and unfinished things in your life, that can add up very quickly. And it can get out of control very quickly when one big thing happens and everything else is already misplaced, right? It fuels the fire in your life, right? Think about if you already knew that you needed to change jobs, right? But you also just so happen to not been taking care of your car, right? And your current job is stressing you out. It's not good for you, but it's very closely located, right? So as something happens now, it's like, oh, now I'm about to get fired, or they're laying off at this job. I know I should have left a long time ago. So I'm looking for a job. I'm saving money. I don't need to spend money right now. But, I'm looking for a job and all the jobs are far away. Oh my gosh. Now my car just broke down because I haven't been maintaining the car like I know I should have, right? That's a little thing that all of a sudden becomes a big thing at just the right moment, right? So the brush represents all the little things that we know we need to be taken care of, but, we're not cleaning up, right? We're not keeping things clean and neat and tidy, right? Dead and dry things in your life that really serve no purpose except to fuel a fire when a fire breaks out. Okay, does that make sense? Give me some hearts if you feel what I'm saying. If you've ever been in a situation you're like, oh, I know I got a bunch of little things I need to tie up, loose ends before something major happens here. Okay, yes, greetings, Shanae. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. All right, so going back to the smoke, Amara made a comment here. It threatens your airways. Yes, absolutely. Smoke threatens your airways and it burns as you try to breathe, right? So lots of symbolism here in this tragedy that is happening with the LA wildfires. The last thing that I think I want to introduce here, the last element so far as transitions go, is water, right? There are water transitions that can happen in your life. A water transition is a transition that happens not so much as an emergency, but a huge blessing, right? The first thing that comes to my mind is getting blessed with a new child in your life, right? It changes everything, right? But it is also a blessing and it is new life. Water brings life, right? Water sustains life, right? There is no civilization that can survive and thrive without water, right? And water is playing a huge role in these wildfires because there isn't sufficient storage of water. There isn't a sufficient reservoir of water, even though this area is right by the ocean, right? There isn't sufficient access to water to fight the fires with, okay? Somebody give me some hearts in the chat if this is making sense for you. LA is in desperate need of water to fight this fire, okay? And what's gonna happen is that the water is gonna come once things have already been destroyed, basically, right? So water, when it does come, is going to represent a total change, right? New life, right? And I'm sure this area will never be built up again without making sure there is sufficient water. Okay, so what we are praying for LA is water, the representation of water, new life, the sustaining changes that a constant flow of water would bring into your life. Tell me in the chat, what does this represent to you? What would water mean for you? Water, to me, I think of money. I think of currency, right? Currency. Well, they say it never rains in Southern California. I know that song. They say it never rains in Southern California. There's not a lot of rain in that area. Okay? So we're praying for, if we pray for rain for LA, that means we're asking Source for abundant blessings, right? For that area. And when we ask for rain in our own life, we're asking for abundant blessings and for the universe to open up an abundant source of finance, of these. I mean, these people need clothing, they need shelter, they need food, anything that you can imagine, right? Someone says water, Jatin is saying water also equals emotions. Yes, yes. So that's why tonight our energetic support, our empathy, and our compassion is very important that we are sending to them, right? And not just, oh, we feel sad and sorry for you, but we want to get into a vibration of a deep sense of security and send that into this virtual cloud storage that we are creating for the residents, the survivors of the LA wildfires tonight. Okay, so think about in your life when you had a sweeping change, right? We talked about this sweeping change that devastates everything. What came into your life to soothe it? Water is soothing, right? What came in, what flowed into your life that represents water? I really want you guys to think through this with me. Tell me, what does this represent to you? Like I said, I do think of money. I do think of currency. Even when you think of a current of water and currency, money is often cash flow, right? Money is often spoken of in terms of water, right? It is often related to terms that have to do with water. We keep our money in a bank, right? We keep our money in a bank, right? And there are embankments, that lead into a lake that holds water, right? We often are correlating money with water, okay? Washing away, water makes you think of washing away dirt. Yes, washing away things that you want to get out of your life, right? So again, that takes us back to cleansing, right? Purification, right? So as we think on this and think of, sweeping, devastating change that has occurred in our lives, I also want us to think about, let's relate this to not just only things we have experienced as individuals, and many of us are experiencing these things as individuals now, right? Change that just feels like it's looming, impending change, like this is inevitable change. There's nothing I can do about this. And maybe you're kind of, maybe we're kind of fighting it a little bit or trying to delay it a little bit, right? As you work through that, as you work your way through accepting that this change is going to happen and you must move to a place of acceptance, one of the ways you can do that is to start picking up the brush in your life, right? Start changing little things that you've kind of been having hanging out there, right? And that to kind of work your way up to having the courage to do the big change, right? But don't have a bunch of little brush laying around that can catch fire, right? But as we think about this on an individual level, let's kick it up one more notch. Let's expand out a little bit further. Let's feel into the energy of this. Let's think about a change that is happening for us collectively, which is that we are moving into the age of Aquarius, which is what? Water, right? So we're thinking about the age of Aquarius is about creating something new, a new way of life, a new way of being, right? Versus conforming to the old structures that were already here, that were built before we were ever born, before any of us were ever alive, right? So the age of Aquarius, this year, 2025, is the first full year of the age of Aquarius, which is going to last 2,160 years. Each age lasts 2,160 years. The last age would have been the age of Pisces, which was very heavy on the masculine energy, and everything was like very dense and about force and competition and things of that nature. Low vibrational, right? Very heavy, very dense energy. Okay. But now, as we move into the age of Aquarius, right? Somebody tell me if Aquarius, the zodiac sign, is an air sign or a water sign, because I don't want to quote this wrong. I can see both ways. Let's see, is Aquarius a water sign or air sign? Let's see, air. I'm getting air. Okay, great. Air. Okay. So when I think of Aquarius, I think about water because I'm thinking about the word aquarium. But Aquarius, the zodiac sign, is an air sign. Okay. Thank you so much, Elmira, for that help in the chat as well. So when you think about air, fire has to have air. It has to have oxygen in order to burn. Okay. Think about this now, right? So in order to really allow these old structures of the Piscean age to burn to the ground. Now we need these suckers, we need to burn, okay? We're talking about heavy oppression, okay? And it's not just for women. I know everybody thinks, oh, that's where she's going. It's not just for women, okay? The divine feminine is arising, but men have also been heavily oppressed in the Piscean age. It's just about oppression across the board. Men may have been used to oppress women, but men are also under oppression, right? So the divine feminine is rising not only in women, but also in men. Okay, so leaning into divine feminine energy is how we further and speed up and lead into the Aquarian age. And that's what's needed to help the old structures of the Piscean age burn to the ground. Okay? Leaning into that age of Aquarius, your Aquarian energy, that air is going to feed the fire. Okay? Give me some hearts in the chat if this is all coming together for you. Okay? So lead into your divine feminine energy means leading into equity, injustice, right? Freedom, creativity, and flow for everyone. Every man, woman, and child being free to reach their full optimization as a human being, right? So these are the energies that we want to lean into as we bring in and welcome in the Piscean, the age of Aquarius. Okay, so we are going to, let me know if this is hidden for you guys. Let me know if this is hidden for you guys. As we start to bring it down some, we're going to take some deep breaths. Thank you so much for the support in the chat. I'm glad to know this is resonating for you all. Let's all take some deep breaths. Breathe in this good Aquarian air. Fill your lungs with the vibrations of freedom, of purification, of cleansing, and recognition that it is not easy. It is not easy to accept sweeping change, forced change, even if it is change that is needed on some level. When we were comfy in our homes, comfy in something, in a structure that was built and that has covered us and that has protected us from certain elements, prevented us from being outside, right? From being vulnerable. right? This is what our home does for us in the physical realm. But these structures, structures of the Piscean age, when we conform to those, we are experiencing this false sense of protection because we are conforming to groupthink, and we are not vulnerable as an outlier, right? We are leaning into our ancestral tendencies, our instincts to stay with the pack, to stay with the herd, and to not be an outlier where you are vulnerable to predators, right? That is a very basic instinct. That is root chakra energy, right? So the Piscean age was very heavy on root chakra energy, very heavy on root chakra energy, right? All about, survival and protection, right? But the divine feminine is now rising. We are very much in touch with our sacral energy, and you're going to hear different people speaking on this in terms of different chakras. And when you hear people say other things, like, hey, we're in our solar plexus now as a collective, we're in our heart as a collective. I don't want you to look at that as being wrong. It's not wrong, right? Know that we are never really only in one chakra ever. We're not ever just truly working on one chakra or living in one chakra or balancing one chakra, healing one chakra, right? The idea is to achieve flow, continuous flow through all chakras. Okay, so we are rising out of that root chakra energy. We're very much in touch with the sacral energy now, and the sense of the divine feminine is rising. Let us continue our breathing wherever you are seated. You can either allow your feet to touch the ground, or if you are seated in a chair and perhaps sitting cross-legged, you can focus on where your tailbone is meeting the seat of the chair and feel that support. Notice the support of the chair or the ground beneath you. As we begin to ground in our energies, as we begin to reflect on the feeling of forced change, forced change. We've all experienced that at some point in our life. Feeling unsafe, feeling scarcity, feeling that there is not enough. It is okay to allow that feeling to arise in your root chakra, knowing that you are now in a safe space, you are in a safe place. That old threat can no longer harm you. Knowing that you are safe here in the collective. We just want to grab onto the feeling that all of the survivors must be grappling with. The fear of not having enough, the fear of not being protected, the fear of being uprooted, total devastation. As we imagine how the heat, how the flames, how the smoke must have made it difficult to breathe. Let's all take a very deep breath now for those who are having difficulty breathing, for those whose respiratory systems have been affected. Let us all breathe in deeply now, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let us empty our lungs. Again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just tell all of the survivors, you are safe now. You are protected now. You are being held now. You are being supported now. There is enough now. You are enough now. You are not your home. You are not your house. You are not your belongings. You are not your neighborhood. You are not your status symbols. You are not your accomplishments. You are the divine spark, the divine spirit that is housed in this beautiful body, this beautiful vessel, this amazing vehicle that is still standing. You are the spirit that is housed by this beautiful vessel that is still standing. The winds have blown and the fire has come. The heat has beaten against your walls, and you are still standing. As we begin to allow our energies to flow up out of that root chakra and up into the sacral chakra, which is located in our pelvis just below the navel. Let us pay homage to the Divine Mother, to Mother Earth, to Mother Gaia, who has seen many fires, many changes, much devastation, and has renewed herself again and again. And stands as the proof, the evidence that we will also be made new. Let's lean into that divine feminine energy, that womb energy that gives life to us all, that makes all things new. That makes us reborn and carries us into the future. Time and time again, we came here through a physical womb, and we are constantly being reborn again and again of the spiritual womb. Let us embrace that spirit of renewal, that divine feminine protection. As our energies rise further up above the navel into the solar plexus. The solar plexus chakra is our own personal power grid. Let us reconnect with a healing fire, a purifying fire. Let us embrace the good that fire can bring. Here is where we store the energy that we get from the light of the sun, which is fire. It is the sun that comes along after the rain and makes all things new. Let us feel this amazing power, resilience, that we hold here in our solar plexus chakra, in our bellies. The capacity to hold on to a sense of self when it seems that all is lost. Let us reflect on the parameters of self, our sense of self, which is in essence the boundaries of our awareness. Our self-awareness is seated here in the solar plexus chakra. As we allow that sense of self to really anchor in our spirit and know that we are not our outward circumstances. We are the powerful beings that created this outward reality and will create again. Let's allow this energy to move up higher into the heart space tonight. This beautiful center of compassion. This beautiful center of love that we are sending, an outpouring of love, an outpouring of compassion for those who have lost so much. We are so grateful for the lives that were spared. We are so grateful for those who escaped with their lives. As we imagine this beautiful color of green that represents the heart chakra, that represents life itself. Let us go deep into the heart space. And we're asking for help. We're asking for divine help to accept the current circumstances. We're asking for help to embrace this new reality. We're asking for help to forgive the circumstances that allowed such devastation and loss. Let us just imagine a green light emitting from our hearts, a beautiful green light emitting from our hearts, and covering the scenes in your mind of all of the devastation. Imagine green lights, green winds swirling through the neighborhoods, swirling through the communities, wrapping love and compassion around the families, causing a swell of love and healing and compassion to rise so high that it touches the skies and causes a beautiful rain to fall upon LA. A beautiful, abundant rain. Let's visualize together a beautiful rain falling and extinguishing every flame, washing away every bit of ash and soot, every tear, every pain, and making all things new. We've all taken in these devastating scenes over the past week on the news and via social media. I want you to isolate one of those scenes in your mind. Imagine the rain falling over that scene. Imagine beautiful raindrops falling over that scene. Imagine all of the wreckage washed away. Imagine all of the ruins washed away. Imagine the earth becoming renewed. Imagine the thirst of the earth being quenched by the rains. Imagine as this rain falls and the earth is quenched. Let's imagine together, let's envision together new grass growing in those formerly scorched areas. Let's see the ground sprouting with beautiful, lush, green grass. Can you imagine that? Can you see that in your mind's eye? Let's begin to imagine trees, beautiful trees sprouting up out of the ground, growing tall and beautiful, sprouting branches and leaves, reaching for the sky, rejoicing in the sun. And let's keep that rain flowing. Let's allow that rain to become a light rain, a light drizzle that's just enough to nourish, just enough to quench these places that have been so dry, just enough to quench these areas that have been so devastated. And let's begin to imagine the birds returning to the trees. Let's hear the birds singing. Let's imagine the wildlife returning to these areas. Can you see foxes? In your mind's eye, can you see bears? Can you see the squirrels running up the trees? Imagine the wildlife returning to the hills and the mountains of California. Let's begin to imagine the joy returning to the hearts of the families. Let us feel, let us envision, let us create and emote with the families as they hug each other and hold each other in gratitude for the lives that have been spared. Let's imagine the overwhelming joy as they receive the news that their belongings, their clothing, new cars, new homes are on the way. Imagine the joy in their hearts as their lives are being restored externally and as a new sense of self, a new sense of grounding, a deep knowing of their own inner strength, a deep knowing that no matter what happens, they are protected. As this new sense of safety and abundance wells up inside of them and spreads out over their entire lives. Knowing that they have survived. knowing that they will always be restored. Let's feel that feeling of safety, the courage to face tomorrow. Allow the feelings of hope to rise in your own heart. And just push that feeling outward. In your mind's eye, push it towards LA. Push it toward the survivors. Knowing that these vibrations of love, of empathy, of compassion, of hope, of restoration, of courage will edify, will uplift, will wrap around, will encase those survivors and be returned to you tenfold. Let's hold it. Let's just hold this feeling for just a few more seconds here. Allow the emotion to rise. Allow the emotion to rise and meet the visualization. It is so important. And let's in our hearts, let's just give huge hugs and huge love. I encourage all of those who are able to find a worthy and honest charity to give in some way as well if you are able. But know that this energetic support we are sending is just as valuable. It is the energetic support that inspires those who can give financially, those who can give of their effort and their time and their energy, their physical energy and support to do so. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for doing this exercise with me. Let's begin to wiggle our fingers and our toes. Let's just come back into the room where you are. Let's come back to the chair that you're seated in. Welcoming your awareness back into your own body. Let's continue our deep breathing. Thank you all so much for your participation in sending love and support for LA tonight. Let's return back here to this collective space with each other. If that felt good for you, yes, thank you so much for the hearts and the smiles and all the love in the chat. You all know that you can do this. Do it your way, do it again and again. You can participate again with this video, or you can do it in your own space, anytime. If you want to take a few minutes today, I know that all of us really, want to support and wish there was so much more. We wish we could hold those families in our very own arms, right? And wrap our arms around them and tell them everything is going to be okay. But we have done a good thing tonight by building a virtual container of love, empathy, compassion, hope, courage to face tomorrow, a strong sense of self, restoration, and a deep sense of knowing, a deep sense of safety and protection for those who have survived the wildfires of LA. If there are any questions before we close tonight, I'd like to address those questions. You all can also tell me how this felt for you. I really appreciate all of the hearts and the greetings, Diggy Mo, in the chat. Thank you all for all of the support. All right, you guys. So those who watch this later and participate with the replay, also please comment and let me know how you experienced this. If you know someone, if you have a loved one that was directly affected, please hold them in your heart and lift them up, hold them in the light, as I like to say, and imagine them specifically as you do the visualization for yourself, okay? Thank you all so much. I don't see any questions coming in, so we're going to wrap up. But thank you all so much for joining me again for another episode of Attracting Love Energy, the special live streaming event. Special visualization tonight, sending love to LA. Thank you all, and I will see you next week, again, next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Central for episode 33 of Attracting Love, Energy, Peace, and Blessings to all. Mwah. I love you. Have a good night.